to Positively Blue Springs here on the BSSD Media Network. I'm Tony Reisinger of Sideline Sports, and so happy to be joined by a hometowner here in Blue Springs. He's Darren Smith. He's a graduate of Blue Springs High School, lives here in Blue Springs, and he is the host of Junk in My Trunk radio show on 1140 KCXL. And Darren, welcome to Positively Blue Springs.
Appreciate you having me on the show. I'm excited.
Okay, a unique show, you know, Junk in My Trunk. How'd you come up with that show?
Well, actually, I came up with the name Junk in My Trunk. I had a scout outie, believe it or not. I talked my sister into starting her own radio show about 4 years ago. And about 4 months into her show, I'm out at scout camp, and I'm realizing that, hey, I have this idea that I want to start a show called Junk in My Trunk. So I called her all excited.
Okay.
Told all my scout troop leaders, so I was all excited about Junk in My Trunk. And they're like, you're crazy. So that's how it started. And I started as a half-hour show with my sister's show. We started May 5th at Secret of the Mile.
Okay. Yeah. Any radio experience before doing this?
No. None. Zero.
What do you love about radio? I love radio. What do you love about radio?
What I love about the radio is people when they call in, or I'll hear people that they've been listening and you didn't know that they were listening. I think that's the really cool thing about radio. And a lot of our roots come from radio, I think. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, radio's been here. There's nothing better on radio than Major League Baseball. It's been here since the 1920s. They've had baseball on the radio, and it won't go away.
Right.
It's just, you know, you feel like when you're on one side of the radio, you feel like that person is talking to you. Just a buddy. My 13 years working the Wireless Radio Network, Danny Matthews ever took a week off. You know, the first night people would call worrying that he was sick or under the weather or something like that. But you really get a great connection with radio than you do with you know, newspaper or, you know, even TV and stuff like that.
Sure.
You live here in Blue Springs.
Live here in Blue Springs.
Okay, you graduated from Blue Springs High School.
Right.
And we're recording this show at Blue Springs South High School.
Exactly.
This high school has been here for 20 years. Can you believe that?
That's incredible. And we're excited about the Jaguars. And my son's a Jag.
Okay.
So we live on the south side of Blue Springs, and so I'm very excited. And I graduated from Blue Springs. It is tough to watch a Blue Springs and Blue Springs South football game. You know.
That's a unique you know quality that you have is you know there's only one high school here.
Sure.
Okay, you're a Wildcat.
Right.
Okay, and just like there's a lot of people that were Wildcats and now they live in the south side of town.
Right.
Is that you know they cheer for the Jags.
Right.
It's tough to cheer against your alma mater.
Sure.
But you can be like me and just be you know Switzerland down the middle and just do the football games. You cheer for whoever wins.
Exactly, and it's exciting. Blue Springs South has a great football program, and they have a good band program. They have a really lot of cool things.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why I started Junk in My Trunk radio show, the main reason why I started it is that I have an invention. It's a thumb glove that I was working on at the time, and I wanted to raise money for this invention. That's why I started Junk in My Trunk. If you listen, that's the Chiefs color. I invented this back in 1989 for thumb soreness for video games. And
all right.
So the reason why I wanted to start Junk in My Trunk is to raise money, to raise $16,000 so that the kids would have some spirit gloves and then think about not playing video games. That's how Junk in My Trunk started.
Okay.
Interesting concept of how that started, because it started with this idea, and then when you get thrown into the junk world and the economy, you have $5 gas and things like that. I didn't realize that thrifting and junking was being green, and it was saving people money.
Right.
And it really exploded from there.
What's your favorite part of the show?
Favorite part of my show is the call-ins.
Okay. Absolutely.
It's when people call into the show and you get that one-on-one, hey, I'm looking for a John Deere tractor, or hey, I've got a garage sale over here, or hey, can you help me, we're doing a fundraiser over here. It's just really the fans that call in, and we get to hear them.
So it's a little like Tradio, but it's not Tradio. I mean, you guys are hosts, but there's an actual show that goes on different from Tradio.
Sure.
Where someone calls up and says, I got a John Deere tractor, my number is 333-5500.
It's a Tradio radio with a Craigslist spin.
Okay.
And that's the only way to really describe it. And that would be, and then we also talk about buying local, and you talk about buying local quite a bit here in Blue Springs, and
so key.
It's we talk about the American Originals. We're not the American Pickers. We're the reporters of junk. So we go out and we meet some of the coolest people in the world out there that are having moxie to get out there and have a business in this time.
What's some of the craziest stuff that people have tried to get rid of?
We've had people try to get rid of cows. We've had people try to get rid of animals, which most radios don't do that. We have guys will call in and have 10,000 pieces of costume jewelry. You'll have just the oddest things that, looking for short range radios or need that, The hardest thing we had to move was the station owner was a hockey table. We had a hard time moving the hockey table. We finally did for her. But people can call into our show if you're looking for something too. You may be looking for a drum set, or you might be looking for a queen size poster bed. You can call in as well. So it's really community service radio is what Junk My Trunk's all about.
What have you guys uncovered in the junk communities of Kansas City? What are some of the unique things that?
Kansas City is amazing, and outside of Kansas City is too. But when you get into the recycle repurpose world, you're talking a lot of cool companies out there. And some of that I would recommend, highly recommend, would be the DAV, the local DAV here. Disabled American Veterans, they do a great job. You have Surplus Exchange in the West Bottoms. They do recycling of computers and things like that. This coming weekend, First Fridays that goes on. That's an amazing thing. Even down to Ripple Glass and all that they do. And I came in, I was not really green when I came in to Junk My Trunk. It's really a learning process. People come in different, what we call shades of green. I think I was probably about this green when I started doing Junk My Trunk. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But now I recycle my glass. We do paper. We think before we do it. We think before we, throw that, tin can in the trash. Oh no, I can take that up here to the school. We can raise some money for the kids. And this is taking us in steps. I'm nowhere neon green, but I'm working on. I'm green now, greener. And so you're always just working towards that.
If you just started, you're a lot greener than a lot of people are, but I mean,
exactly, brother.
It's shared.
Right. I'm Jaguar green.
Blue and green, there you go. Good answer. What are your future plans for the show?
Well, the future, we're doing a lot of stuff with what's called a road trip movie magazine that we're creating. I think a lot of stuff, radio does TV, TV's doing radio. We definitely have done a lot of YouTube videos of our sponsors, and we want to create a road trip movie and go to some of these places like Lexington.
Right.
I'm chomping at the bit to go to Lexington now. And I have in a different light,
Right.
I haven't gone with Junk My Trunk there. We've gone to Weston, we've gone South 71 highways where we're working right now. We go to Harrisonville, but we definitely want to go to Lexington because it's a great community. I'm really excited to go.
And there's a very unique signature tagline that you have. What's that?
It's called Woo Doggies.
Woo Doggies.
Woo Doggies.
Woo Doggies.
It's like what's actually Woo Doggies is our sound effect. It's a Jed Clampett Well Doggies.
Oh yeah.
But when we first started using the radio show, we started saying Woo Doggies the whole time. Well, a year later, we find out we've been saying it wrong the whole time. It's actually Well Doggies. Woo Doggies.
Well Doggies.
Yeah. So if you want to hear our show, it's a family show. People can tune in. There's no cussing or anything like that. Our sound effects are the Clampetts.
Right.
And we start off with Sanford and Son music.
Well, this is commercial radio, so they're not hearing you cuss.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, but you look at it like what you guys do here with the Jag TV. It's wholesome family entertainment. You don't have to worry about your 5-year-old getting on and listening or watching.
Correct.
With some of the mainstream radio stations, roll the innuendos that they throw out there, I think they're inappropriate.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And I think what you do is fantastic, and you got a great staff that works with you.
We do.
Just tell us about that.
We have Fancy Smith, is from Cactus Creek. She owns Cactus Creek up in western Missouri. We also have Ed Thomas that works with us.
Okay.
Mr. Ed, the talking horse, we call him.
Okay.
Ed's been with us for about a year. And we're with 1140 KCXL, Liberty, Missouri. We also have a satellite office in Green Valley. Since I've started Junk My Trunk, we've actually been able to start 7 other radio shows. So if you want to get on radio, if you're interested in doing your own show, we can help you do that.
Okay.
We have a real estate show. We have a neon green. I call him, it's Gary Walker. He's the king of green.
Okay.
Helped him get started. He's been on for almost 3 years. He's more of a neon green. I realized early on with Junk My Trunk that I wasn't green enough. And so I wanted to get an expert. to start his own show, because we're that great, but he is pretty cool and great. And we also have a home improvement show that's on Mondays called the Home Improvement Show. So if anyone's interested, getting into radio, we can help them do that.
Okay. And most importantly, Junk in My Trunk. What days is it there and what time?
We're on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings from 10 to 11. And you can catch us online. If you need anything, you can become a Facebook friend and let us know what you're looking for, and we'll try to connect the two together. It doesn't cost a thing to call in. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, if someone wants to call you about maybe doing their own radio show.
Absolutely.
What's the phone number to reach at?
It's 816-217-7218.
It's important to love what you do.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
And I can tell you do.
Yeah, it's a labor of love.
Yeah, but you know what? You guys do a great job at it.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your success.
Well, I appreciate it. And I want to just give a shout out to my wife, because I couldn't do it without my wife. She's really been the backbone for me to be able to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be, probably we're going to be switching roles, and I'm going to be she's going to be the entrepreneur, and I'll be the steady Eddie. I love my wife, and I just want to give her big 2 thumbs up.
Okay, well, you need to put your glove on when you. he's Darren. Hey, Darren, thanks so much for joining us here on Positive Blue Springs. He's Darren Smith from that great radio show, Junk in My Trunk, that you can hear on 1140 KCXL. It's a great show. Tune into that. He lives here in the community, and he's Positively Blue Springs. This is Positively Blue Springs, a presentation of the BSSD Media Network.